call absolutely. I blew it in thinking that was going to suck. It
Mm.
really didn't. It was actually pretty good. And so for me, I'm really impressed with what they did. But to, I believe, Beatdown said it, you know, you're absolutely gonna now you're banning Olaf. Like you just have to if you're Lotus, otherwise you're sort of trolling. And so now it's figuring out, well, how do we answer back and the interplay. But now this series is really a toss-up for me now, Dia.
Yeah, I think that it does come down to what we teased a little bit, where like Vlad banners only, even with that sort of questionable picks, as you say, with the Trundle and the Olaf, had a really good understanding of how they wanted to play the game with that front to back. And what I thought, so here's what I thought. I thought that we were getting a Graves from Lotus to deny that front to back, to say, no, we're going to have an additional carry. We're just going to have our Orin front line. We're going to burn through your front line faster. And then Graves, I felt like we sort of swapped, right? In the first game, it felt like Jimmy didn't really understand the way that they needed to itemize in order to win the game. And now on the other side of that, it felt like Katsuki didn't understand the role within the team. Because that's what the champions are all about. It's not just the champions, it's the sort of different things that you choose to bring out about them. And bringing out lethality is going to help you one-shot the backline. But we never saw Katsuki get to the backline, especially in those team fights.
Right, and that's the nail on the head there. And I think it was like the second or third dragon fight we were watching. Katsuki just gets blown up, and then they get decimated. It's like, oh, okay, so that's where this game stops and starts, right? Like once he was gone, that was the end of the story. And I thought that Katsuki would be able to do a lot more as Graves. Like I had higher expectations. I mean, I know they only have 10 kills, so he does have KP and 8 of them. But going 3, 2, and 5, I just feel like he wasn't able to put it all together in a way that we would have expected. Now, I do think JVL had a really good game. As hard as it is for me to say his name for whatever reason, I can't say it. I cannot say JVL, but I think he had a great game, and. This is tough. It's tough for both comps because I honestly thought that the comp here for Lotus was pretty good, but it just didn't really pan out. And so I'm going to eat my words on that and see if they can come up with a better one, because that Trundle Olaf, it worked. I got to give you credit for calling that one, Dia, because you had faith in it when I did not. You had faith in this itemization, even if we didn't necessarily love this Derek's death stance. It ultimately paid off in a big way.
Yeah, and I think that I want to throw it forwards into the next game as well. We will be getting the pro draft for it very shortly here. But what I felt like changed that game was specifically Jimmy maybe being a little bit more of a comfort pick and understanding the role of the jungler, and I think that's been such a pivotal thing here. I want to see a coherent composition, but more than that, I don't want to see any dilly-dallying either way. I kind of want to go tank here, or I kind of want to go full damage here. I think we need to see coherent itemization that supports whatever team comp you're getting. I suspect we get team fight. I don't think we see split push. It's a possible answer, but right now I think we're going to get a lot of doubling down, and I want to see that reflected not only in the compositions but in the way that we itemize. Draft is already underway though. We got that Samira Bard set, same things as always, and on the other side, same things as always, Vladimir, Yuumi, as well as Hecarim, and the Caitlyn first pick just brings us to that even further continuance of the rest of the series.
Yeah, and that's pretty much expected, right? These bans, we see VBL sort of married to them. Same for Lotus. I think most games across Heavy League tonight probably saw similar bans outside of some really particular comfort picks. And as I say that, we will bring you the scores from the other games before we get into this one, so we won't forget about that. Okay, R1 Nautilus. Interesting. I don't hate it, believe it or not, Dia. I don't hate it. I'm intrigued.
I like this Nidalee. This is I like Nidalee. I like Nidalee because of the importance of the jungle, but also because this has looked really good for VBO in the past. I'd like to see them be able to succeed on this, but it will be answered, it looks like, by an Orin. So Nidalee suffering from a similar thing as Jhin to a lesser extent, where once you lock her in early, obviously you're going to pick tanks to be able to tank those spears, be able to mitigate a lot of her damage and pop-off potential. I like the response here, but we'll see how the draft continues because the Nautilus first pick, like you say, it's interesting. I'm ready to be proven, not proven wrong, but I'm ready to have this proven to me, and VBO still have work to do in that department.
Yeah, and VBO must have something up their sleeve in the sense that they're willing to kind of pick something that's suboptimal that they, I want to call it suboptimal, something you could get later. Like you're not picking something broken R1. Like you could have taken Jin or like you could have taken anything that's like a little stronger. You could have gone Renekton R1. Like there's a lot of like stronger laning choices that you could have made. And instead they're gonna go with a tanky support that like you can get different varieties of, even like R5 even. So they wanted to force Lotus to kind of have to make a move, and maybe them picking Volibear was what they were looking for. I'm not entirely sure, but this is gonna play itself out really interesting. They're gonna wrap up there with the Ashe, but I like Ashe Nautilus. I like that lane. I think for both comps, it seems like they're really doubling down on the identities that ultimately won them their respective games.
Yeah, you're shifting it a little bit back into the hands of Jimmy here for Vlad Batters Only, which is a vote of confidence, and I'm ready to see it because Game 1 looked a little bit questionable. Obviously has a better grasp of the Nidalee in the past, so I am looking forward to seeing that sort of carry performance potentially come out. But Lotus is not going to make it easy for them. With the Ornn and the Volibear, that's an extremely strong team fighting composition, and we talked about how I expect to see a lot of doubling down. Nidalee, Ashe, Nautilus is still team fight potent, but I wouldn't call it a direct team fighting composition.
I wouldn't.
And I think that, I think you need more from other lanes here. I wonder if we get an Aurelion Soul. I don't want to say that it's going to happen, but I would like to see it happen, especially paired with something like a Nidalee.
Yeah, I would too, and I think that would clean up because in the last game it seemed like both teams were just like on generally comps that they were uncomfortable with or something. Like I said, nothing to take away from VBO's win in that last game, but it was just generally very sloppy League of Legends, and I think reverting to some comfort picks, whatever those look like, and we're gonna see a Gangplank. So maybe our first true split push of the day, because we haven't had one yet, and maybe that's the sort of thing that they need. In the last game, I mean, Ornn never came online. He was just sort of ostensibly supposed to be a tank that ultimately didn't do anything. Maybe a split push is what the doctor ordered.
Yeah, split push is a potential answer, especially if you suspect that Lotus is going to go straight into team fighting. Split push can bring you a lot of success. Gangplank is a nice flexible pick here. I haven't seen a Gangplank mid in a while, or at least in coordinated play, but I would like to see the potential flex of that in case they wanted to pick themselves up a stronger split pusher here in the Aphelios. I don't suspect will be locked in here, but I'm ready to be convinced. Instead, Orianna makes a lot more sense to me if you want to go through this team fighting route, leaving themselves open though to a split pusher.
They would have Aphelios mid. That would have been wild.
Team fight 100 is what that is.
Oh my god, that would have been crazy. I like this comp from Lotus a lot, and I'll own a bias right here. I'm really biased towards really tanky, pretty comps like that, where it's just everyone tank, and then just you're just gonna come in and shockwave everything. Oh, VBO, don't tease us with it. Oh. Damn it! Why do you tease us like that?
I like it. I like that.
I like it too. I just wanted the A Soul. I like it too.
Yeah. This is.
It's good.
May the A Soul comp rest in peace. That which we thought would come will grace us another day. But on that note, we do have a Cassiopeia, and Cassiopeia gonna be feeling pretty good right now, especially because it is a great side lane champion. I do not think VBO contest all Lotus in the team fight here. They can, but late game team fighting is not their win condition.
No, and that's something we have to keep our eye on. That if they ever panic or try to force team fights, it will be the second we know that they're, things are being turned on their heads. I mean, I like that they're going to give Prophet this Cassio again. I think for the third game in the row, I'm going to say it. Please, for the love of God, help Prophet. Like, just help him out just a little, like just the smallest amount. Give him some help, and maybe going with the Gangplank where you're banking on him being able to just 4-1 comp and like kind of resource himself, and maybe Nidalee now can make some moves in the mid lane. But like if you get Prophet ahead at all, we saw the difference it made in the last game. If you do it earlier this time around, you're gonna win. You're gonna win the video game if you do that.
Yes.
Like just do it. Just help him out a little. He doesn't need a ton.
Yeah, I think I'd like to see, and maybe the Nidalee comfort pick is going to come in clutch here for Jimmy. The other thing that I want to point out is that I like what you bring up, 4-1. 4-1's a great idea here. I think the other great idea here is a 1-3-1. Because Cassiopeia is a great side laner in and of herself, and Lotus has the potential of answering at least one side lane with a ward. Because he can sort of auto push into a lot of traditional split pushes, even things like Camille, be able to push a wave, go back, heal up, and continue to face tank with a lot of his inherent wave clear. They can sustain that in exactly one lane. No other lanes here. And as much as the 3 left behind, if you take away Orianna as well, to go and answer Cassiopeia are powerful. They are not as powerful as something like Nidalee Ashe. They can look for picks and dance around you. I very, very much like the idea of a 1-3-1 emerging here, and I wonder if Vlad Banners have the same read on this that I do, or whether they're going to fall into what you have already suggested as being a very panic thing that we saw a little bit of last game.
Right, and so that's ultimately going to be where our eyes, I think, are going to have to stay for a good chunk of this, right? We see VBO answer back in a big way with the last game, though it was a bit topsy-turvy and everything else. Are they able to keep their composure and ultimately close out the series? And for me, based on these drafts here, Dia, I'm inclined to believe they do. I like this idea of a 1-3-1 or a 4-1 as long as they don't get caught up in too much team fighting. I think they're fine. I think this Nidalee finally enables Prophet with the top lane pick they have, and I think that puts them over the top here.
Yeah, and just for the viewers at home, we are out of LCS order. This is not a Cassiopeia top Gangplank jungle and Nidalee mid. I have tried Gangplank jungle, and I would not recommend it. It is a thing of the past, but
was it ever?
It is a thing of my past. It is a thing of my past.
That's a really good way to put it.
Yeah. That being said, before we get into the game, you wanted to talk a little bit about how the other series are going.
Yeah, so and thank you, Mr. Drake, for putting our predictions up on the big screen here for everyone at home. So the results from today. So Booyah Exiles did 2-0 Mizzou, which all of us had predicted, so we get points on the board. CGC did 2-0 Anarchy Fallen Paladins, so they have not dropped a game yet this entire season. So keep that in mind here as we're going from week to week. Who's ultimately going to challenge CGC? And the answer is right now, we don't know. We were wondering as much as you all. Obviously here we have a 1-1 game. And YO Boomers did take game number 2 against FGCU Thunderbird, something that I was really surprised by. I gave a hot take to D in the middle of the last game. I was like, everything's going to be a 2-0 tonight. And that kind of blew up on my face a little bit there. But for now, at least, I believe everyone's picks, but Zephyrs are are still alive and have a real shot here.
The belief in Anarchy Fallen Paladins does bite us sometimes here, but I'm excited for that team as they continue because we've got to see a few nice looks from them. I think that what's really, really catching my eye here is that Beatdown Boulevard did put VBO, and if history is anything to take away or take a learning from, it's that Beatdown Boulevard not often wrong on the pick'ems here.
He's not often wrong.
And I like the idea. I really like the idea. I think VBO can win, but Lotus, they have a really strong composition for the way that the games have been played. I'm excited to see them step it up, take back onto VBO what was given to them last game.
Yeah, and we are in for an incredible finale for the evening. Once again, it will be Zephyr and the Unstoppable and Predictions Mr. Beatdown on the call with Jake on production still. Enjoy game number 3, and then we will see you all after for post. Enjoy it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the XLNC Heavy League. Here in Week 4, we're bringing you the series between Lotus Esports and Vlad Banners only. Game 1, Lotus against all odds. Show us that they've got the power, take it to a victory, but Vlad hits hard back into Game 2 and bring it up to the tie 1-1. It all hinges on this final game here. I'm your play-by-play caster, Zephyr, and I'm joined by the lovely Beatdown Boulevard, as always, as my color.
And Zephyr, we have quite the hype Game 3 ahead of us here. Lotus showing us that they are not the, bottom 2 team you and I thought they were. But I'll give you this. You believed in them today, and they might live up to that hype. But we're going to see how it actually plays out here. Because if you look on one side, Lotus draft a comp very similar to Game 1. In fact, JVL and Alistair are playing the same champions, and they have the same beefy front line supporting them. So if they manage to get JVL and Alistair ahead like they did before and have this amazingly beefy tank line to work with into these team fights, they have a good shot at actually winning this game, completing the upset. Vlad Banners only, though, they have Profit back on this Cassiopeia, and they have plenty of ways to enable him as well if he gets fed once again. This Cassiopeia, it's like you said in the past, she's a ticking time bomb. And when she explodes, there's no going back.
Ooh. Well, looks like we're going to have to wait to see that ticking time bomb, and that period's going to be extended a little bit longer. Well, actually, I guess not as long as we thought. We're already back into it. Real quick pause. You know, that's just a little handshake. Apparently was about minion health on their end, but you know what? Doesn't matter. Either way here, looking towards some of the win conditions for either side. Pretty namely so, as you just mentioned, Profit on the Cassiopeia, a really big hinge point here for VBO. Instead, looking forward, Alistair now on the Caitlyn. Really important to see him come forward, especially with Dunzy on such an aggressive support. Really want to see some bot lane potential.
Yeah, me as well. I think jungle pathing more than anything else is what I'm most curious about, especially from Katsuki. Again, Volibear, extremely powerful early presence as a jungler. What's going to be done with it is the question. Katsuki is going to full clear top side, might do a top to bottom clear and try to contest that bottom scuttle crab, and then look to make a play bottom side. And that's already going to be a big point of contention. You're already seeing the wards in that bottom side river from both sides, actually, to see which jungler is going to get there first and who's going to be able to rotate for that skirmish.
Yeah, that's definitely the concept, because bot lane's a really great point here. If Gates gets ahead, good job. Now you've got your major secondary carry online as well. If Alistair comes through, that's your major carry as well. Crazy thought. So, looking forward here, I will say it hinges on the jungle a little bit, but other than that, I don't know. We may have to wait till team fight phase.
Yeah, I agree with you as well. It's looking like the Scuttle Crab is going Katsuki's way, which is going to be pretty big for him. But Jimmy is going to happily be content with taking the topside crab as well. We might potentially see... No, it's looking like he's actually going to go back to farming here. Nothing else is really going to come of it. Gates and Walnut actually have full priority in the bot lane, so there isn't really anywhere he can look in that regard. On the other hand, he might want to set his sights mid lane. JVL, really low on mana, might be forced to back soon.
Yeah, definitely looking on that one. Mind you, he does have the teleport, something he likes to run continuously, but Profit does as well, so at this point, it's really who expends which one first. I will say it's a bit sad to see, especially since he's got the extended potions, keeping him in this lane longer and longer, but it's still difficult to run straight into the Cassiopeia. It doesn't bode well for shutting down this monster, that's what I'll say.
Yeah, that's right. With how much Profit has, I would like to see Katsuki try to make some plays there as well, because we already talked about it. This Cassiopeia is another point of pressure on the side of Vlad Banners only, especially with that
Katsuki.
dragon. Oh,
Potential engage there, but it's a bit too far back. The death sentence does land. The stun comes through. Thunder from the sky. Walnut able to go down off that first blood. That auto just following him back to tower. Very nice. As you said, very huge for Alistair. That's going to be the tipping point on this bot lane now.
And this is huge for Alistair. They managed to go get a great back as a result of that first blood gold. They come back with the BF sword, and this lane is going very well for this Caitlyn.
I guess that's a general starting point here at 5 minutes. But yeah, going really well for this Caitlyn. She does have the 1 kill. The lane CS is very even, and in fact, it's in favor of Gates, so it's not quite out of the park yet. But hey, what works, works. I'll give you that.
Yeah, that's exactly right now.
Whoa,
and now,
Stingus.
He's getting a little low there.
Oh, oranges. Never mind, he good.
Ah, that's right. It's Gangplank.
Vitamin C, baby.
Yeah, I think it's literally called Prevent Scurvy, isn't it?
Oh,
Is that ability?
No.
No? You sure?
It's remove scurvy.
Remove. Oh, of course. How silly.
Which is weird. All right, whatever. Stingus is still getting smacked here. The claps are still coming through. Who cares about the oranges?
You know what? Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. We got to get our priorities straight here, and it's looking like Lotus have their priorities straight as well. As you can see, they're making their way right over into that dragon pit, and they are going to get a head start on that dragon. Jimmy's nearby, though.
Onto that flash forward, does not land the petrifying gaze off that, wastes the flash out. He's going to be pushing through on JVL, but that's not enough. Meanwhile, Sting is here, the double flash coming through. The W's going to secure it in the E to get out of it. Crooked Serpent with the solo kill, but meanwhile, VBO, they've got the pressure on the bot side. Can they get the steal? Oh! Lotus do find the steal off Katsuki, the hook coming through from Walnut. Woo!
That is phenomenal, because now you get both sides of it. Cloud Serpent gets the kill top lane, and Stingus, who uses the cannon barrage bottom lane instead of on himself, ends up not being worth it because his team doesn't get the dragon to begin with. So already plays across the map going in favor of Lotus. First dragon and first 2 kills. Prophet, though, he might want to pressure JVL here, but it's looking like not a whole lot's going to come of it. He's waiting for Jimmy, who's right around the corner.
I don't know if he's going to be able to find this one off here.
He lands the spear.
Oh, spear did not land. Oh. Yeah, he flashed out. I mean, he forced his flash. That's good enough for me.
You know what? Yeah, he might not have needed to, but I guess in his mind, he's like, oh, spear, diddly, gotta go.
No, I mean, come on. He asked you. Are you kidding me? 2-1 gank, gotta go. That's the general idea.
Yeah, hey, fair enough. You're right. And JVL does have the TP, is immediately able to come back to lane. So you know what? Not too bad. But you see the pings coming out as well as some attempts at deep vision as well from Stingus. It's looking like both teams have their sights set on the Rift Herald next. Katsuki and Jimmy alike are just going ahead and farming the top side of the jungle.
Serpent is mean, by the way. This guy is precious. Thing is, he says, "Hey, welcome back to lane. Want to make a trip over to the river with me, buddy? I'll just walk you through this dry bush right around the bend here. And oh, could you stand there by the turret? You're gonna have to wait."
Yeah, and you know what? If you ever played against Gangplank in top lane, I think you feel no sympathy in that regard. He's oh my god, he's quite the champion to play against here. But enough about matchups and personal experiences. Looks like Lotus will get that first Rift Herald as well. First Dragon, first Rift Herald is actually quite big for them. It allows them to get a lot of this early plate gold and put it on some of their carries. I imagine Katsuki is going to use it either with JV. I would say Alistair in the bot lane, as he's already spent a lot of time there. I think there isn't anybody you want to get turret plates more than a Caitlyn.
Nah, dude. Just slam that top side.
You know, you're right. Give Crooked Serpent all the money. This Ornn, he needs it. Look at him.
Actually, it's payback, all right?
I mean, that's true.
Jimmy has
After
been in this
everything
lane.
that's happened, it'd probably feel good if you're Crooked.
Whoa, he's going to fall through with the call of Forge God. Even though the knockup did not
he wants
land initially, Sting is going to use that barrel to get out of this one, but he's going to be slowed there. Sadly, no fall through on the additional knock forward there, so he's going to sustain this one out just a bit further, and because he's got those corrupting pots, he's able to stick around for a lot longer than you'll expect.
Yeah, but Crooked Serpent obviously not happy about how the last few games went. Showing in the gameplay. Oh, does want to play a game? the game is flash or die, and Jimmy drops the flash.
Smart decision. And Jimmy
I like
actually
it.
coming back over the
Oh,
wall.
wait a
even
minute.
though he doesn't have flash. Stormbringer comes through immediately there. No surprise on that one. So he's getting a little bit of payback, but no flash, mind you. Dragon's up in a minute 30, so just waiting on the reset. Meanwhile, Dunsey here with the death sentence with the massive lantern to Katsuki. Falling through that route. Alistar picks up the kill there onto Walnut once again.
Beautiful.
Meanwhile, the teleport stopped as Prophet tries to come through there. Crooked Serpent, though, does manage to get his TP off as he launches forward onto Gates here. There's the clap. Ace in the hole coming through. Secures another kill onto Alistair.
Oh my god, and look at that. The team backing off, saying, Alistair, this was for you, buddy. 3-0 on this Caitlyn. So much gold sitting in his back pocket. That is going to be a very early Infinity Edge on this 80 carries effort, and a very scary omen for the side of Vlad. Banners only. Lotus taking one step at a time towards completing this upset, as they are more than 1,500 gold away, and they're going to take this bottom tier 1 turret, putting the plates exactly where you want them, in this Caitlyn's pocket.
Meanwhile, JVL looking pretty bad here. That's not even a play-by-play job at that point. That guy was gone.
I think Jimmy also asked JVL if he wanted to play a rousing game of Flash or Die, and he's like, "Oh, you don't have Flash? Oh, I'm sorry. You die."
Oh, I'm glad that's the only thing that separates death and living here on
Apparently.
Excellency Heavy League. Jimmy's doing it well, though.
Yeah. Apparently, he saw Katsuki play with him earlier. He's like, "Wait, I like that game. Let me try." And it's actually worked out pretty well for him so far. You look across the board. So far, we'll see. Prophet, though, is getting stronger and stronger. Archangel Staff already on the board, starting to stack up. That Seraph is going to be huge for this Cassiopeia. You can already see the damage coming out as well. Wait a second.
God.
He really wants it.
Always wants to fight. Barrel's coming out here. Sting's going to be able to pop that one and get the slide away here. Mind you, he still has those corrupting pots. He's got the speed on his belt, so no problem for him. He just walks out.
I love that Crooked Serpent's
Whoa, Enchanted Crystal Arrow here.
Oh
There's the depth charge into the dredge line. Root after root. JVL gets absolutely shredded there. Great claps from VBO.
That is what I like to call hands off the keyboard stun. Really, no point in you trying to interact with the game at all. Walnut and Gates say no. And that is a much needed kill in this Ash's pocket. But there you go. You're talking about it right now as it's happening. Alistair is just going to try and pick up those plates mid lane as a response and actually manage to get one.
Yep. So more additional gold funneled through onto Alistair. Even though we see the death in the hands of JBL, I like VBO taking advantage, not being quite on the run back into that initial movement into the mid lane. They get a kill, and that's good enough. That's equivalent in terms of turret plate. You know what?
True.
Kill equal gold, you know, Gates back on.
Yeah, that's right. It's all about trading here. And this time around, VBO get a little bit more of what they're looking for. Lotus, though, still ahead if we look at the overall game here. And they've are the first to rotate their bot mid as well. And you can see this rotation working out in JVL's favor as well as he gets the solo farm just a little bit. He knows Prophet is ever so slowly slithering his way down into the bottom lane.
Well, maybe not. He's got the teleport. Oh, no, he doesn't. My apologies. He's going to go for the back first initially here. Going to be picking up, I believe, yeah, the completed Archangel Staff into the bot lane now, as that wave's going to be hard crashing in there. Mind you, there's not much on the map here, so it's really just going to be farm for a little bit here. Really looking to see what engages can come through from Katsuki and Prophet. Or Jimmy, my apologies.
Lotus doing a pretty good job of keeping the vision in their favor on the top side of actually on both sides of the jungle if we look at it here. But oh no, Kazuki, he's looking for something.
It was so long that like there's nothing to
range.
play around off it. So I mean, it was cool.
Hey,
you can
it's
hit
about
them
sending a
hooks,
message
baby.
sometimes.
Exactly.
Gotta make him sweat.
Walnut's gonna send a different message as he predicts the flash into the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Dunsi's done.
There it is.
Fantastic CC locked in. Walnut and Gates do it again.
Yeah, that is a very ambitious there from Dunsey, but a much needed kill. Once again into Gates' pocket. Oh, whoa, what are we doing here, brother?
flash or die in this segment. Alistair had flash, and he did not die. Meanwhile,
Beautiful.
Crooked Serpent going to be picking up turd on the top side here, as we did see the initial trades off that Shockwave go trade for JVL. Finally, Katsuki coming through. Doesn't even matter. Ace of the hole. Alistair coming long range from downtown, picking up another kill in his belt, and this guy needs to be shut down. 400 gold is no joke.
It really isn't, and Alistair's actually sitting on 2,000 gold right now as well. So close to being able to finish off that second item.
Look at this,
come on.
Lantern
Wait, that's
box,
actually really good.
Alistar, not quite going to follow through off that one, knowing that Jimmy's in the area, and I really like that, actually. That's very smart from him, gauging the potential of death, especially since he does not have the flash.
That's right. Will lose the game of flash or die, should it come to that, but overall, good call for not completely committing on Alistair. Definitely made some questionable decisions in game 2 as well with that regard. So it is very nice to see that he is positioning himself a little bit better here. But oh my god, can Dunsey miss a hook?
I didn't expect that hook to really land through and through, but he does find it, and Walnut's going to be forced to back out of that one, and that's going to give a lot of pressure to mid lane and most likely turret as well. So great tier 1 to pick up there. Or
that's right.
Not.
Nope, everyone's just gonna reset. They would rather, you know what? It makes a lot of sense. Your Caitlyn is sitting on a lot of gold, and you want to be able to get her as strong as possible. There you go. You see the BF purchase. Kirch's Shard is so close to finishing off that Stormrazor. So now this Caitlyn is gonna be just huge, huge going into this next fight here, Zephyr. Hook. Let me see it.
Not quite. Mind you, I will say the Seraph's Embrace did finally activate here for JVL. That's going to be massive into this next fight, especially since Prophet is not on the same margin here.
That's true. Although Prophet will have it soon. However, for the purpose of this
teleport.
dragon, it won't be available.
Great hook on his Stingus there. He's going to cleanse out with the remove script. Whoa! No petrifying gaze off that. That's huge.
Bad. Can't miss reading the range a little bit. I think that's
Spears aren't hitting here. You got to see someone step up. Stingus is doing his best, but a great hook comes through. There's the call to Forge God going deep in the back line. Cannon Barrage coming down as the double knockup goes on the Prophet and Stingus. Volley cannot foot his way in as he runs straight into Cannon Barrage, and as a result, Gates is going to find the kill there. Now Enchanted Crystal Arrow securing onto JBL, uses that Seraph's Embrace, and a massive shockwave to get the return. There's going to be the depth charge coming forward as Jimmy comes over the wall to serve the kill onto Katsuki. JBL barely survives, shielding himself off of that one. Crooked Serpent going to be chasing this one out. Try to get the replay back into this, and he does find the clap onto Walnut. Flashes forward, turns into Sting. There's the double kill. This guy's on fire. Keeps it going. Forward. Prophet with the Seraph's Embrace finally coming alive. Gets the kill, but he turns his attention as Alistair is still ready to go. Ace in the hole over the side, but the heal coming through from Jimmy saves the day. That's going to be some kind of fight coming through here, but the dragon does find its way over to BBO.
Yeah, but Lotus have done this before. They've let the dragon go and pick up a number of kills in the process here. Not as clean as you might want to hope, but look at this Caitlyn. Look at how much gold he's sitting on. Is literally 2,000 gold ahead of Gates. Is sitting on 1,500 right now. This Caitlyn has been beyond accelerated since the beginning of this game. And of course, JVL is just JVL playing so very well on this Orianna once again, much like game 1, and all of this is leading to Lotus having this 2,000 gold lead. Yeah, they're a dragon down, but I don't think they really care. They can contest for the next one. They have just as much right to this upcoming Baron as Vlad fanners do. All it's going to take is one good team fight, and we know Lotus are good at those.
Right. I will say it was kind of crazy. Seraph's Embrace not being up. Prophet suddenly gets it, is able to use it, sustains it out. Crooked Serpent goes down as a result. Not to say Crooked Serpent, he was going to go down either way, but fantastic job from Serpent onto this one, turning that back around, coming through there, taking advantage of some of the early presence he had in this lane and finding victory. Now a great hook there onto Jimmy. Gonna find a massive damage as the depth charge comes through. Big shutdown from Alistar there. The Enchanted Crystal finds a stun on Dunsey, but Katsuki has arrived there. Stopwatch going to be utilized by Walnut, but he's all but done. Another double kill. Meanwhile, the bot lane, you do find Prophet finding a kill on the Crooked Serpent off of the gank there from Stingus, but at this point, it doesn't matter. You guys got it back. Your tier 2 is looking pretty rough.
That's right. It looks like Stingus will
Oh,
continue
good.
to push and offer
Global.
some pressure. Oh, the cannon barrage clear the minion wave. Excellently done. Is going to allow Gates to back off without worry, and Lotus are going to have to back off as well. So they end up getting the tier 1 and push that wave up and threaten tier 2 for Vlad banners only. They didn't lose as much as they could have. And it's worth noting too, Stingus has a Trinity Force, is getting close to that IE. Pretty soon these barrels are going to really start hurting.
This game is incredibly even. You still have sustained gold finding its way onto Gates, finding its way onto Profit. Not to say that Alistair is looking absolutely absurd, 7-0. I mean, that's kind of gross. But in comparison, JVL isn't quite there. He is ahead in terms of gold to a degree. I mean, or at least he's not behind. Profit's definitely looking better, but either way, he's still a potential carry. But it's not as spread out as it is for Vlad banners only. So looking forward to some of these team fights as these items all come online to get.
And it's going to be tough. Profit on this Cassiopeia, unlike Game 2, doesn't quite have the secret service that a Cassiopeia might require. So positioning is going to be so important for this cast once she really comes online. 2 items and a finished Seraphs. I think that time is coming very soon, so this next team fight is going to be very interesting, and Profit especially needs to land those ultimates. Those petrifying gazes need to go big, or Vlad banners are going to have to go home.
Oh, I like that one. That was kind of hot. Either way, Profit carrying out the side waves here, making sure the pressure really isn't on top of him until the major objectives come to the forefront, which I really like. He's getting the gold in the safest way possible, continuing that lead the best he can. So, you know what? We won't see much of him as of yet, but potentially in 50 seconds when the Cloud Drake is up. All right. I mean, I like that. Bonk. Dude just says, all right, we'll delay the back by a little bit. And you know what? That could actually delay a major fight. Oh, it actually is going to keep delaying this one out. You could see something crazy happen here by this chain of events if Lotus is not, if Vlad banners only isn't careful. Speaking of not being careful, they're stepping straight into the death charge. Going to be responding with the dredge line. Katsuki, ooh, hit through the the depth charge to get double knocked up there. Stingus using, pulling off the blast cone there. It's just a trading back and forth. Oh, big
like
teleport coming through here from Profit.
There it is. Can he stop it?
He's gonna find this one. So it's gonna be the 5v4, but Stingus hit hard off of the Storm Razor. Is gonna be using the Scurvy as a massive shockwave comes over the wall there, and they're pressuring these guys. And they're not even in the river. Meanwhile, teleport is completed there from Crooked Serpent. With these traps being in the way here, Profit, he's looking for that blast cone to find something, but I don't think it's gonna come through. Dunsey steps up, tries to get the flame, doesn't find it, but that's amazing petrifying gaze on to JVL. Tries to sustain with Sarah's Wraith, but he can't fight. Crooked Serpent doing great to pressure this out. Alistar gets some pressurizing damage. Kiting through his Profit step, sword flashes forward, but the shutdown is going to find its way on the Crooked Serpent as he's peeling. Jimmy deep in the backline, heals his way through the ace in the hole as he doesn't go down. Crooked Serpent now deep in the pit here, looking worse for wear. Got to find his way out of this somehow, or else he is going to go down. Meanwhile, Gates going to be starting to kite this one out on the side here. Step sword flashes out with the Hunter's focus, but Alistair's damage is absurd. Comes over the wide for the double kill. Now Crooked Serpent, he comes out of the pit. He says, my back's up against the wall. You have no idea what the wall even means, and he walks his way clean out of here. Lotus, off the pressure of Alistair and the absurd playthrough on that fight, come out successfully, take the dragon, and win it through and through.
The damage from this Caitlyn is off the freaking chart, Zephyr. He's just unbelievable. And now the Molten Edge is available as well, so she's just gonna hit even harder. And the fact that with such low HP values that Lotus managed to grab for themselves, or the half for themselves, that they still win that fight as a result, is just unreal. And that is rapid fire cannon completed by Alistair. So these long extra range slows are going to come through as well. You got to imagine with this lead Lotus have given themselves, all it takes is one good Baron and they might actually complete the upset.
Dude. That Caitlyn right there has almost 100% crit chance.
That's
95%. That is absolutely gross. It's Storm Razor's the build, so no surprise there. Meanwhile, Sting is in the bot lane, unable to get targeted out by the shockwave off a great flash. So He's out of that one, but that's a huge market to play around now.
Yeah, that it is. Stingus thinking he could farm safely in that side wave, ends up being proven wrong. And now Dunsey says, you can't walk around here, Walnut. You got to be real careful. Those death sentences are unbelievable. He is. It's about sending a message. And the message is, I hook better than you.
Whoa! You can take that up with Walnut, man.
That's what he's saying. That's what I'm seeing.
All right, and there comes another hook over the wall there, straight on the wall. Not gonna be using the Gargoyle Stone Plate immediately, but he's looking pretty bad here. Uses the Dredge Line to get out of this one, but the Ace Knoll is gonna follow through. Great heal from Jimmy to staying it out just a little bit longer. He Dredge Lines out as Gates is actually gonna be the one targeted. And Walnut leaves! Walnut leaves! They don't care about him!
No, they let him leave. Exactly. You don't care about this low health Nautilus. You want the tier 2. You want the base, because they can take this tower no problem, and they can walk right over to that Baron.
All right, that was kind of hot. Meanwhile, though, Stingus is pushing your bot lane, so you get the Baron, get the back. You're gonna lose potentially first turret or even inhib if you have a really great push by Stingus, but they're burning through this Baron quick enough. I'm interested to see if VBO stops backs here, because that's all they got to do. If they stop backs and pull this off, that's going to give them a lot of pressure on the bot side. Really important. Cambarrage is going to come through Jimmy over the wall. And they get the steal! VBO gets the steal off of that one. He's going to go down as a result. Stormbreaker falls through. His Walnut's going to use the Dredge Line to get out there. But now, this is the worst possible situation for Lotus. Stingus gets a free inhibitor off of this one.
And unbelievable, Vlad Banners managed to close the gap yet again. They steal the Baron, and it does exactly what you said. Stingus gets a free inhib. They take the mid-tier 1 as well, and the lead Lotus were fostering until now is gone. Out the
JBL. Great
shockwave,
but he's going to be hit through as the Dredge Line comes out there. It's going to be the 1-for-1 trade. Both mid laners going down, but instead of the gold ending up on Walnut, Alistair picks up some more for himself.
Yeah, not ideal to get that kill on the support, but you know what? It's a shutdown. You get him out of the fight nonetheless here with the dragon up to 30 seconds. It's actually going to be big. Both mid laners will have teleport as well, so this will be a 5v5 once the dragon is up.
Yeah. Looking to see how that one's going to play out. After the last one there, like we discussed, there was a lot of extended period on the play there. Lotus just spreading that fight out as much as possible. The Call of Forge got going to start this fight off. A great stun and kill onto Gates there. Oh. That's absurd. That secures the third Drake immediately. Stingus, though, going to play out the exact same way. Keep pushing the mid wave. And it's going to be forcing that teleport out of JVL, which we expected anyway. So still very useful, very nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. That's it. Now it's Cloud, Soul Point here for Lotus, who are just wresting control back from Vlad Banners only off of some great CC chain on the Gates. Once again, hands off the keyboard stun. That's what I like to call it, because Gates didn't really get to interact there. And now this Baron play looking like it's going to be pretty much halted. There's a minute left.
Oh, Jimmy,
what are you doing? What are you doing?
Flash or die. He's got the flash. Spear, though, is going to make sure he goes down either way. Ace in the Hole was so greedy there, dude.
Yeah. You know Nidalee can heal. Like, what are we doing there, Alistair? And this is kind of what I was talking about before. Excellent team fight positioning, but sometimes likes to overextend when the enemy is not out, or when the enemy's not in your vision. You need to respect that, especially as an ADC in 2020. But you know what? I don't think Lotus are deterred. They still are very much in control of this game here. Look at that damage! Look at the damage! Well, it's looking like we lost Zephyr, so big team fight coming through. Prophet actually gets the kill onto JVL. This is huge. The reset is coming through from Vlad Banners only. This is suddenly a disaster scenario. You don't have your Orianna. And now looks like Vlad Banners are pushing through. Oh, you're back?
I'm back. And
you're back, thank God.
Team fight, but Alistair, just like me, has arrived. He's going to be making sure that this doesn't end too quickly there. Sting is going to be using Remove Scurvy to make sure he doesn't go through off that death sentence. But like you said, JBL, really aggressive, tried to step forward there, get a play off on Stingus getting a great shockwave, but he was punished so and just punished by Prophet. There you go. Words.
Yeah, words.
Spit them out before
Definitely
my
happened
Wi-Fi
there.
cuts me off.
Yeah, that's right. Every time you hesitate, Comcast cuts your Wi-Fi. I think we found the common element there, Zephyr, now that you mention it.
Yeah, no, they choose the most impromptu moment to make me sound like a nut.
Oh, wow, yeah, we have examples that I won't bring up on stream because you know which one I'm talking about. But regardless, Comcast is the worst. I think everyone can agree on to that. And then now, back to the game, you can see Lotus. Now,
Ooh,
they don't
Jimmy.
quite have the goalie they're
Death cap.
looking for here. Yes, that's right. Jimmy does have the death cap, so it really hurts. This cat has claws. Can't think of any other analogies, but the point is, those spears are going to explode you if you are a squishy. It's worth noting, though, JBL has the
Big
death
dredge
crown.
line, Katsuki. There's the depth charge.
Oh, I don't like that.
Nah,
I don't like
that.
that. Wait, I don't like the Stormbringer either. He was fine.
He was pretty okay. Both of them were pretty all right. Oh, all right. This is fine too.
Oh yeah. Oh, here we go. Pause. We're all right. We're good. We can talk about how Alistair has Phantom Dancer now. That's a little scary. 100% crit chance on this Caitlyn.
Yeah, that's kind of hot.
That's kind of hot.
13-1. Sadly, though, JVL not looking too hot, sitting on the 0-5-9. While he has set up some major team fights, he isn't really finding a lot of that gold into his pocket, and as a result, sitting on only 2 completed items in comparison to what is Prophet with
Thank God
4
for one, though.
on his belt.
Yeah, this Cassiopeia has been extremely fed. Pretty much exactly how you like her if she is on your team. Vlad Banner's only been doing a good job funneling gold into her. If we look at the gold differences, yeah, that's like 2,500 gold. But at the end of the day, the carries are set here. It's this Cassiopeia versus Alistair's Caitlyn, who, I mean, both in their own right do a good amount of damage. It comes to execution, much like it was in game 2. You can't overextend in your side of the jungle when you don't have any more turrets up and their enemy team's not on the map. Hot take, I know, Zephyr. I'm just full of these all day long. But the point is, you got to respect lack of vision because spawn timers are high enough that one bad death could actually lead to the end of the game.
Yes. Crazy thought. No idea there. Looking forward to the Dragons being up 130, though. Ooh, moving forward there, looking off at this one. Looks like we lost beatdown. Finally not me for once. But either way, the wave's clearing forward here. That Baron buff is finally down, so they're just going to be pressuring this out as they look to clear this forward and make sure they have the best positioning possible under their belt so that Lotus cannot secure this Baron. And it gives Vlad, of course, what is pretty much the final ends be all to this game.
Yeah, that's right. And we're going to see how it ends up playing out here with the Baron coming up in 40 seconds. That is going to be the big thing to play for both of these teams. Everybody's about as strong as they're going to be, except for maybe JVL, who might wish he had a little bit more gold in his pocket. But overall,
hey, dude, you work with what you work with.
Exactly. You know what? It's nice that they have an Ornn on their team. Death Crown definitely feels a lot better than a Death Cap. And this QSS on Alistair, is actually quite large as well.
Yep.
The ability to deny one of those chain CCs could actually be life and death for this Caitlyn.
Really watching Crooked Serpent here. He's usually the initial engage here, especially with the Call of the Forge God. I like JVL, though, making sure they're pushing out these waves here, taking presence off, and removing Stingus from the fight. Call of the Forge God does come through, and they find it on the gates immediately. Ooh. No ace in the hole there. Great blocks. That one's going to be major damage down there, and JVL barely misses. Now there's the flash forward. They get the massive hook there deep in the backline onto Dunsey. Dredge line landing off of that one, but the damage is absurd with Ornn fronting this out so perfectly. Cannon Barrage doing a great job to stem them off of this one here. And to be honest, only Dunsey's the one looking really bad. So now VBO going to make an instant rotation towards the Dragon.
That's right. Being able to deny the soul for
Yes,
Lotus is
yes.
definitely going to be super
Yes, do
useful
it.
here. Oh, but they're
Do
walking
it.
up. They're looking to trade. I like it.
They already know
Doing
they
it.
lost
They are.
Dragon, so clear vision, get as much pressure as you can off of this one, reset, make sure everyone looks good, and then contest Baron. Because you've earned yourself the right to give up that Drake in hopes, because, you know, it's not soul.
Yeah, and they have 3 Drakes to their name as well. The thing is, though, they are going for the Baron right now on the side of Vlad Banner's. Only Lotus don't quite have their mid laner yet, but they're going to have to do something very, very soon. There's the TP.
Yeah, looking off that one, great call. The Forge God into that backline with Storm. They're clearing up the back here. The double kills through from Alistair, and they're just cleaning up one after another.
no.
4 members down here. Lotus on top of it all. Oh, and that's going to be the secured Baron, given that only Stingus is alive, and he's already made his way back to base. He has run for the hills. Beat down.
Yeah, the TP was absolutely necessary lest he loses life too. And now, with this Baron, he doesn't. Oh, he does have Cannon Barrage, so he could potentially go for. Okay. Well, he ends up getting smited away. But regardless, Lotus now have the tools to end the game here. They have the Baron buff. Most of the inhibitor turrets on the side of Vlad Banners only aren't exposed. It looked like they want to push out this bottom wave, protect their bottom inhib, and just start making that push mid. I don't think they want to try and pressure sideways here, but because they were forced to reset, they actually gave Vlad Banners a chance to defend their base here. The respawn timers are up. Everybody's back on the rift, and we'll
Hey,
just
that's
see
fine, man. They
how
got
Lotus
Baron,
want to
though.
split this one up. Yeah, of course. Lotus still want to push a little bit further, but if they went straight for the Nexus, for example, that could be a different story.
I will say it would have been a bit difficult given that most of their windows in terms of their ultimates were down, so contesting a fight off of that one probably wouldn't have been the best idea. But here's the issue, Stingus and Prophet are just absolutely bursting through every wave that comes through, removing it from having any pressure and pushing towards these turrets. We're going to see how this next one lasts out. Curious to see what they can do with this one. And good job, Alistair, taking out the barrels. That's what you need to do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be tough. Cannon Barrage is also available here, too. So it is tough to get some real damage onto this tower. They're finally able to do so, but they're looking for the engage. You're seeing Jimmy throw the spears out, and I like this. They have Crooked Serpent on the bottom lane, trying to push out this wave as well, trying to sync up these waves so that they can pressure multiple
Ooh, they're going
turrets.
to make the engage happen now. Prophet going to be hit immediately. Great Petrifying Gaze there onto JBL, but Stormbringer going to be pressuring it out as the teleport finally comes through from Serpent as Walnut goes down. There's the response for a triple knockup with the Shockwave connecting as well as Alistar's down, Gates is down, Prophet is going out as well. And with 4 members awry and Jimmy being the only one left alive after 36 minutes beat down. Finally, Lotus Esports, after your predictions are wrong and my predictions are right, they win it all and take the series tonight.
Lotus Gaming showing us why they deserve the upset. They did exceed my expectations without a doubt, and the likes of most of us on the analyst desk, but congrats to them. They showed us they wanted to end. They got the win.
Yeah, fantastic job across the board. Clean through. We saw a little bit of some script, especially through onto that second game, but overall they managed to come out on top. And of course, big props to Alistair. Insane damage through just the 17-1 carry. I mean, this guy was miles above what we expected. But other than that, we're going to be throwing it to a quick jump over to our analyst desk as they're going to walk us through a little bit of how that game went and why Lotus, even against their predictions, came out on top.
Thank you so much, guys. It is myself, joined by, of course, Paul here on the desk, and Beatdown and Zephyr. You guys are monsters for being able to catch that 3-game series. Game 3 also going surprisingly evenly up until the last moments right there. Paul, I gotta ask you, what were some highlights of the game for you?
You calling this with 450 into the game?
Oh yeah.
So I'm gonna give credit where credit's due here, and I literally wrote it down and I put it in our broadcast chat so that Dia could get appropriate credit. He said that Alistair got it was like first blood, and you're like, okay, that's game. And I was like Monka W, like for real? He's like, no, seriously, like that's game. And they ultimately just ran it out in a really well done way. And so, that's maybe the highlight for me. But realistically, the highlights watching Alistair dominate, right? So this is the first time we've had Lotus on stream, and so it's different versus like we can VOD review and like go back and watch tape and like see highlights of these guys, but to sit and watch in real time it all happen, I understand now why he was the biggest damage dealer in the entire league. It
Yeah.
it all makes sense, right? Dunzy's a monster. Alistair played great. I still can't say JVL, but the casters were able to say his name right a whole bunch of times. And so Lotus really impressed me, especially on the bot side of the map. And kind of every Caitlyn play just sort of blew my mind.
Yeah, and I think that was really backed up. You mentioned them saying JVL's name a lot, and that was for really good reason. I feel like he was consistently finding very good shockwaves, and whether that's off the back of amazing Orianna play or whether it's off the back of a little bit of forgetting that the Orianna ball exists, in the chaos of the team fight, what matters is that he's able to find them and being able to force so much focus there off of a team composition that really, really wanted to get on top of you. I think this was a very high pressure game from VBO. We saw a lot of flashes out of Walnut, specifically to start off engages, and there are damage threats on literally all the other 4 members, and being able to navigate that as a team, with the engages and the peel from Katsuki and Crooked Serpent, as well as JVL, to allow Alistair to be able to pump out that much damage was really incredible.
Yeah, he had a tremendous game, and I want to make sure before we get too caught up in this, or at least before we transition, because we will be bringing in Beatdown and Zephyr for the post game interview. I do want to touch on the other scores across the league. Excuse me. So to wrap it up again, Booyah did win 2-0 over Mizzou. CGC won 2-0 in their matchup against Anarchy Fallen Paladins. You witnessed a 2-1 from Lotus over Vlad Banners Only. And FGCU just wrapped up a couple minutes ago and took the 2-1 over YO Boomers. So YO Boomers, we thought maybe they would have had a chance to eke that one out, but not able to pull it all together ultimately. And so now, big picture here, Dia, as we sort of always talk behind the scenes now, Booyah for me, like if we're talking power rankings, like Booyah kind of on the ups, I think, in Lotus, I think really impressing us tonight.
Very much on the ups. And I think you and I talked about it when we were doing the power rankings, saying that, hey, if Lotus can solve the Alistair problem, which is my favorite saying, which is why I keep saying it, if they can solve the Alistair problem and unlock him onto the map, if they can start to find ways to consistently bring this guy to the forefront in team fights, then that's how they start to jump up in power rankings. And I feel like in game 3 specifically, we saw them do that. Game 2, we can all forget about, because it was very impressive for me compositionally from Vlad Banners Only, but for Lotus, didn't look that great. Games 1 and game 3 specifically, I felt like they really showed an understanding of how to play around that carry and how to walk away with where their edges are over other teams, because that's what's important, is finding out what differentiates you and being able to push those advantages where you can.
Right, and I think that game 3 sort of highlighted how well it can go when you find it. And I think game 2 was sort of a win by attrition and from VBL, where it was just really sloppy league and they're able to pull out the win. So I think I used this phrase last week and I'm going to use it again. Not every win's a timeline defining moment. VBO just played better in a poorly played game last game, but we saw when Lotus plays well, how big of a gap there can be between two teams here. And I think that's a lot of credit to how Lotus kept their composure and really stuck to their game plan of being like, yo, we have the top damage dealer, Crooked Serpent. Let's actually get him online and like kind of focus on this Ornn and give him a little bit of help with the volley bear. And ultimately, it came out really, really well.
Yeah, and also huge credit where credit is due. We talked about Katsuki and Crooked Serpent has maybe taken a back seat, especially in the second game. There were several times this game where I know that you and I were on call and going, that was a really, really clean engage, and it was because of the Volibear Ornn synergy. It's not just because they're brothers, but it helps a lot because they were really using, I think, the Ornn ult with Volibear running at you was a terrifying engage. And onto any mispositioned target, that was super a death sentence. And I believe that you are going to tell us who we're interviewing tonight, because I don't know yet.
Oh my god! And today I learned that they're brothers. I always forget that. I feel like
Yeah, Oliver Oren, bro.
blowing my mind. Two brothers. It's two brothers. So we are going to be passing it back here to Zephyr and Beatdown, and they will be interviewing none other than Alistair, and they will be wrapping up the broadcast for tonight. So for us, we bid you adieu, and we pass it back to the casters, fellas.